calling the Quabbin Regional School District School Committee to order. September 14th, 2023. First item of business is our language regarding recording. Please.
This meeting will be recorded and will be posted to YouTube and other social media platforms. By participating in this meeting, you understand that the recording could contain your video stream or your audio stream, including images of yourself or anyone in the room with you. If you choose to enable your video or audio device during the meeting, as well as anything or anyone else that may be in the background could be recorded. The recording could include any opinions you contribute and anything you say about yourself. On occasion, chat within the meeting could also be captured in the meeting recording. Therefore, anyone attending the recorded meeting may have aspects of their personal data recorded if they actively participate or not.
Thank you. Before I do roll call, I would like to introduce Charity Chaffee. Are you online?
Yes, I am today. I apologize for not being there in person.
Not a problem. We will see you in person next month or wherever. And again,
Yes.
Just wanted to welcome. And is there anything you'd like to say? I have an opportunity. We welcome the new members. So we now have a complement full board of 15 members.
Oh, perfect. I mean, I'm just very excited to be here. I've worked with the school districts for a very long time as a mental health counselor, so I'm
Okay.
excited to be on this side of it.
Good. We look forward to working and your participation and involvement, however long or deep or as much as you'd like to get involved. So look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you so much.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps?
Yes.
Ms. Garvey?
Yes.
Ms. Cartier?
Here.
Okay.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Here.
Ms. Cormier?
Here.
Ms. Chafee?
Here.
Mrs. Thompson?
Here.
Mr. Nutter?
Here.
Mr. Jean-Francois? And Mr. Chairman.
Here. Before I go directly into the agenda, I'd like to, if with the support of my school committee members, colleagues, I'd like to take a couple things out of order. We're going to do new business and the Student Advisory Council. I don't hear any objection. I'm going to first ask the superintendent regarding the request for approval. Chris Haley, request to approve a hiking club field trip to Mount Monadnock in New Hampshire.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Haley. I'm a math teacher at the high school and the hiking club advisor. I was here last May, and you were nice enough to give us permission for our first trip to Monadnock. We had a great day. That was a full bus load, close to 50 students. This year, the members expressed a desire to return during foliage season. So we're hoping to have a somewhat smaller trip on Thursday, October 12th. We'd attend for about half the school day, drive up, hike the mountain, maybe return to the building around 5, 6 o'clock. We're excited to take advantage of the district vans that are available to us, and we can provide this trip to students for no cost. So, with your permission, that's something we're hoping to do.
Dr. Allen?
Move with the usual provisos. Second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion or questions? Members, seeing and hearing none, roll call.
Dr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Garvey? Ms. Cartier?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
Yes.
Ms. Chafee?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Nutter?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Now that we voted for it. I'm a friend with Chris on Facebook. He puts some great pictures, and if you could, at some point, Chris, just put together a small presentation, I think everybody would really, because the pictures you take on your hikes are incredible.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, I have a few from our various trips last year, so I'll certainly I can send those Jess's way. I'm happy to share. I love taking pictures, so that's half the fun of.
They're good ones, and it's fun to see the kids in those situations, so.
I'm looking forward, again, I'm kind of a nut when it comes to foliage season, but I'm hoping it can be really beautiful. So I'm hoping for good weather, and I'll be sure to send some pictures along.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome. Under new business, request for approval, intermunicipal agreement between the QRSD and the 5 district towns. I'm going to turn over to the superintendent and we'll go from there.
Sure. So we talked about this at last month's meeting. When we met to talk about the chiller project and the funding of the chiller project, you remember when we invited the towns of Barry, Hubbardston, and Hardwick to our meeting. Hubbardston expressed concerns about following the existing language of the regional agreement because 2 of the towns were paying in full upfront. We spoke to our legal counsel. Cheryl worked with bond counsel and created this intermunicipal agreement. This is something that would be a one-time, non-precedent setting document that basically allows us to work together. We all have to agree to it, the school committee and all of the 5 towns, that states that the towns who have paid upfront, nothing will change for them based on what they voted on at town meeting, but basically for Ocam and New Braintree, their apportionment of the project is going to be effective of October 2022. They've decided to pay upfront. Nothing's going to change for them. For our towns of Barry, Hubbardston, and Hardwick, they will also have their apportionment set as of October 2022. However, they're going to enter into borrowing for a 5-year term. And over the life of that loan, the apportionment will stay the same, which is different than our original agreement, why we need this intermunicipal agreement. So the plan tonight would be to have the school committee vote on this. And if approved by majority vote, then I would visit, I've already reached out to all of our select boards. I'll visit each of their select board meetings. I'll present this to them and we will all sign it and then we'll date it. You'll date yours as of tonight. Each select board will date it as of the night they met, but the final date will be the last date that the last group signed it on. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Dr. Allen?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay.
Is that Dr. Allen?
Yes. Any further discussion, school committee members? Dr. Allen?
I think this makes great sense. Clearly, the towns were more comfortable with this sort of thing. And if this makes them comfortable and it moves ahead and it gets the job done, fine.
Exactly.
Good move, guys.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Dr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Garvey?
Yes.
Ms. Cartier?
Yes.
Mrs. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
Yes.
Ms. Chafee?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Nutter?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. And before we'll go back to the approval of minutes, if it's okay with my colleagues, I'd like to do the student advisory council perspective, and then we'll get back onto the agenda. Superintendent.
Yes, so tonight we have 2 students visiting us from Hardwick Elementary School, and Principal St. George will introduce these students, and they have some information to share from the start of the school year.
So, good evening, school committee members. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. We are actually going to be talking about how the start of school began for us over at Hardwick. And I can say that the first day of school is probably one of my many favorite things. But I get very excited the night before, just getting ready to see all of the students come back to school. And I feel like they are in the same boat as I am, because as soon as that bell rings at Hardwick Elementary School on the first day of school, kids came off of the buses, they came out of their cars, and all you saw was smiles on their faces. They were waving to their friends that they didn't get to see all summer. Some of them were hugging each other, waving to us. They went to their classrooms, hugging some of their teachers. They were very, very excited to come to school and be there. And from day one, our staff, all of our staff has worked really hard on just going over routines and expectations. We have jumped right into learning. The kids in the classroom have been engaged, they're excited. And I'm really pleased tonight to be able to present two of our students. So we have Rose Fleming and Grant Barham, and they're both from fourth grade, and they will be presenting for you tonight. You guys ready? You want to stand up? Okay, Grant, you're up.
We've been meeting our teachers and getting ready for the 180 days. We've been practicing reading fluency, getting used to the classroom. We are reading Winn-Dixie because we need to know what the main characters feel like. Picked that book because you can tell what the characters feel inside on the outside. We've been working on learning about the characters. Every morning we have a morning meeting, a checklist, an activity, a greeting, and a morning message. We have activities every morning, like exercise or a game like the coin flip game. We have practiced the fire drill and found our celestial spots. In math, we have been working on place value terms and comparing numbers. We are also practicing our multiplication facts and talking quick quizzes. I'm already working on 7s, 8s, and 9s. In social studies, we have been working on maps of the continents and oceans so that we can learn them. So far, I like fourth grade because of the new things we are learning and that we get to switch classes. It's like a stretch in the middle of the day.
Fantastic.
I remember the first day of school. I was so excited to see my friends because I haven't seen them all summer. We also played some games to get to know each other. My favorite game was Consensogram. In that game, there were stickers and there were papers with questions. We had to pick the best answers for the questions. Another thing we learned in school is the rules and expectations for our class. One of my favorite things we did is we started reading Winn-Dixie. We have already read half of the book. We also learned how to write an essay. When we started an essay, we first started with the 3 details, then we wrote the introduction and conclusion. My essay is about how much I love ice cream. Miss Bray described writing an essay like making a sandwich. The middle ideas are cheese, lettuce, and meat, and the introduction and conclusion are the bread. We just finished reading a play in Wynn about a soccer player who joins a new team and forgets about his friends on the old team. I don't think that would ever happen to me though. Reading this play is helping us work on fluency and comprehension. In math, we are working on putting big numbers into a place value chart and adding them together. This is a little hard, but it's fun. I hope that the rest of this year goes as good as the beginning has been.
Thank you. First of all, I want to do this. Are there any questions or comments?
Comment. Maps. I like maps, so you like maps? Okay, good. There is one place in the continental US, the 48 states, where you can't, there's an old Maine saying, you can't get there from here. And there's one place you can't get to from that state without going through a foreign country. Have you come across that? Do you know where that is? Well, this is Washington State. And there's a lot of water there, Puget Sound and all. And there's a peninsula hanging down from Canada. And you know how the border between the US and Canada comes across? Well, it cuts off the bottom part of that peninsula. So the only way which has been part of the United States, the only way you can get there is to go up through Canada and down to there. So you look at your maps, look at the map of the United States, and you can see there's this one place. You want to see if your teacher knows this.
Fantastic. Any other questions? I just have just a couple. Do you like the morning meeting routine? Does that help you become organized and start the day? Rose? Good. And then what's your favorite subject?
Math.
Math, and yours is reading. Do you have any questions for us? Well, again, we want to say thank you for coming. Your presentation was clear, and thank you for presenting to us. You're more than welcome to stay and listen to what we do. Also go home, not a problem. It's up to you. It's up to you too. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, and our high school students have made it just in time. So Principal DeMarias is going to introduce our two students.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, Luke and Ruby, thanks for coming by after practice. You guys have had a full day today. So I'm very excited to introduce Luke Salvador and Ruby Gatulis. They are the president and vice president of our junior class. They're going to share reflections on the start of the school year and invite all of you to our fall bazaar and tell you about their exciting plans for raising funds for the junior class. So Luke and Ruby, this is all yours. You've had a busy day today.
Hi, everybody. As Ms. DeMarias said, I'm Luke Salvador, and
I'm Ruby Gatulis.
we're the president and vice president of the 2025 class. Mr. Martin said that he put some slides together for the schedule update.
Give me a second.
All right, well, if not,
Did you send them to me?
he didn't give us the details of what he did afterwards, but
Let's see.
if you guys just have any questions about the schedule, I think a little something like that might work better than us just giving information you may or may not want to hear. So any questions about the new schedule or how the,
Like
How's
a student
yours going?
reflection on it?
yeah.
How do you like it compared to what you had for the previous years?
I kind of find just in the early days, the rotating schedule is hard to figure out, but I'll definitely get used to it. And I know that my course load is also bigger, but I feel like it's also better for my more like full year classes that I'm taking like APs and IBs. So I think that's effective for it.
During the day class, I feel like I learned so much more because it's almost the class cuts off at the perfect point of, you know, almost like burnout. Like you've been in the class for so long, you've heard the same material for so long, and then you sort of just can't wait till it's over. This new schedule kind of gets me like, you know, I'm excited for the next class, and it's like just at the perfect point where I'm ready to go learn something new. You know, for the after school, there's definitely more homework, but that comes naturally because we have 7 classes, and you know, me and Ruby both take hard classes, so we're, you know, expected to have a lot of homework each night, but it really, for the day-to-day, I think the day-to-day makes up for it because, you know, I feel much more prepared going into each night to take and learn and be able to actually transfer the skills I learned in class onto the assignment, so.
Yeah, I agree with Luke, but I find it also difficult to get to class on time, especially if I'm going from one side of the building to the complete opposite in the lower level because of the cut down of passing time. I think it's 1 minute.
I was gonna say, what's the minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
It used to be 4 minutes, but now it's 3 minutes. And I know after third lunch it's cut down to 2 minutes. So I know that a lot of people have trouble for that passing time.
And it's conceivable you could be on one part of the building to another.
Yes.
Yeah, so my flex block is Mr. Simon's, so that's C217, and so then my A block class is ROTC. And so if you guys have a good picture of where those two locations are in school, I have to speed walk past, you know, all the other people in the hall to be able to make it on time. Because, you know, a lot of teachers give leeway because they understand 3 minutes can be tight from where you're coming. But, you know, with ROTC, you just want to be on there on time. So it can be challenging, although I understand to, you know, optimize learning. It will take the adjustment. I guess everyone's just gonna walk a little faster. But yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if it would got changed back to 4, I would not complain at all.
Anyone else? Regarding the schedule, so 7-period day?
6-period day, 7 drop 1.
Okay.
Today, for example, we dropped our C block class. So we went A, B, D, E, F, G. Yep.
Drop the C.
Drop the C. So tomorrow we'll drop the D.
D, okay, so it's gonna go alphabetical
Right.
and then round up again. Okay.
Yeah, and then so weekends, anything like that doesn't matter. Monday,
Yep.
then I'm skipping E.
Yes,
Tuesday, Wednesday, so on, and then it restarts day 1, I'm skipping A. So that would be Wednesday. Or Thursday, I don't know,
but you both made a comment starting off that you like this type of a schedule and changing it from a tri-semester to a semester-based.
I don't think that I can offer the fullest of, you know, I haven't seen how the quarter grading really play out just because we haven't got graded yet. Or anything like that. So, you know, that's not my full opinion, but as of right now, for how excited I am to wake up every morning and go to school, versus last year with how much more I get to learn and interact and do all this different stuff. The 6 classes compared to the 5s, it's really refreshing. I like it a lot.
I also like the rotating. I feel like it gives me more motivation to like get through school. It feels less repetitive and it's just easier to get through the day.
Right.
And like, I know that tomorrow isn't gonna be the exact same schedule.
Honestly, if I have homework in math or something, and then the next day I'm dropping it, so that it gives me an extra day to get it done. Honestly, I mean, I don't want to be like that, but it's a lifesaver, you know, because then it's one less thing I have to do that night, you know.
Yeah, time management.
Gets to sort of procrastinate for a day.
Is flex block the same time every day?
Yes, if that got reduced, which us as class officers, we're sort of feeling that because each day we're, you know, not every day, but most days or in certain clubs we'll have meetings. And that is stuff that we have to hammer out. And now one meeting is now equivalent to sort of like what we'd get done in one meeting now sort of takes 1.5. Although with Zoom and email and we're learning to live with it. And honestly, I think it's better because you get straight to the point. There's no like chatter or anything. You just get right on it. So really, it's all about adjustment. And I think that this is so great for the school. So everyone seems to be having just a great year. You know, if that's for the schedule or not, I don't know. But it definitely is one of the big changes.
Dr. Allen?
Is business club started yet?
No, sir. It has not. We haven't had our first meeting yet. It's going to be first week of October.
You don't have any indication if there's expanded interest in it this year, do you?
So yes, we do. So I'm not sure if I was able to report on this the last time I was here for DECA. I think I did. We had we had 8 kids sign up, and then now in spring, we had I think 30 kids sign up and be interested. So that's some 350% growth rate that we had in our own program. And now this all with incoming freshmen is going to even go up. So I'm actually very excited for our first meeting. It's going to be, really good, hopefully.
You had 6 or 7 graduate, didn't you?
We had 6.
6, yeah, that's what I thought.
Any other questions, comments for the school committee members? And then you mentioned you have a rigorous course load, and you do too. You said IB and AP?
IB, I'm not in any APs, but 5 out of my 7 classes are IB. Yeah.
Okay,
Good for you.
yes, for both of you. For both of you,
Yes.
absolutely.
How about you? How many of yours?
AP. I take 2 AP classes and 3 IB classes. IB honors.
Good job, good job.
She's got a little harder than me.
Fantastic.
Great.
For the update. Do you have any other questions for us?
Did you guys come up with the schedule? Or how did the schedule get, did you guys vote on it? Or what was this, how did it get implemented?
It's a very good question. It really is. I'll turn it over to the superintendent first.
We had a committee that had been, it started actually 2 years ago, is that right, Carrie? 2 years ago that was, started working on it, and it's just been a process since there. We looked at a lot of different schedules, took a lot of things under consideration, and that was what we felt would allow you the greatest opportunity to have more access to different kinds of courses, but also allowed you to have more contact with the same teachers over time. So those were 2 goals we were hoping to accomplish by that, using that schedule.
So aside from the study committee, you had the principal and the administrative team, the superintendent, and in turn, in our world, when it involves a change, we even involve the teachers. So even from a collective bargaining perspective with the Teachers Association, we brought that up as part of the adjustment. So we would work together in the best interests for students. And so you wouldn't have resistance or, a lot of unhappy people because they didn't want to do it a certain way. So you started 2 years ago, and then the committee was fully informed and supported the efforts of the administration as well. And the principal would share it too, same with the students. Last year, you probably, was there surveying of students and questioning as well? Did you have any did they do any dipsticking and asking you what you would think if there was a change?
Not that I remember.
I think more in the winter.
Okay.
The winter or maybe early spring.
Yeah, I think there was like
I think there was a survey of sorts.
Yeah.
That's big.
Maybe.
I could be wrong, but I remember something like that, yeah.
Well, that's why we ourselves too keep looking at not only student voice to hear from, we really appreciate hearing from students. So we can work together, what's the best interest and the best way to do it. And you are living and breathing it, working it. So.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you very much.
With the new quarter and semester system, does that mean that classes will have midterms and finals? Because I know we did do that in the past, but moving forward with the new schedule that I know other schools have, I know that they have midterms and finals also.
I see Principal DeMaria's just turned her camera on, so I'm thinking she wants to field that question.
Sure. So we are leaving it up to our teachers' discretion to have midterms or finals, but we're working towards after years, maybe not this year, but the next year to have some common mid-year and final assessments. So we're definitely going to have our final exams, but mid-year, we're leaving that up to your teachers.
I think you can expect some assessments, whether it'll be what you're used to from years ago, that typical sort of the material that's covered prior, and that's the only thing that's on this assessment. Do you know what I mean? It may look a little different, or maybe even be more of a performance-based kind of assessment.
That's the old fashioned test where they keep the questions the same, just change the answers.
We're not looking to do those so much anymore.
Another thing was how you were just mentioning how tests are sort of changing. The PEA assignment in global politics, how that's changed from capstone, I think that's awesome. And how in IB you have to go out in the community, as both of us are. We're pretty involved in the community, and we're always trying to make certain things happen. And so many kids go through, because there's only 4 class officer spots. So many kids go through without that experience, and I would give anything up for it. It's really, I think it's helped me develop as a person, and for them to put themselves out there like that in that type of situation is, I just think, so beneficial. I mean, I haven't gone through the whole entire thing, but I know Mr. Marsh's daughter, Kelsey, had a awesome PEA project, and I even had it as an example in class the other day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Sandy Hook project, yeah.
Yes, and I remember her engagement with the school and her whole project.
Yeah.
Because it got the entire school involved, I remember.
She's very involved otherwise, but it's just a good example of that.
Yeah.
Great.
She's okay.
Thank you, and we're off to a very good start. I appreciate your enthusiasm, both of you, with your schedules and what's happening. And have a good, and thank you, and have a good year.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bennett, is there any slides?
There are no slides. He didn't email them.
Okay, so we can just speak to it for a second. So I'm sure you guys remember a while back, there used to be the Fall Bazaar or the Senior Bazaar. And so our class advisor, Mr. Nozick, told us about the idea and about how it used to run for years on end, and it was a great fundraiser and how it brought the whole community together. We were hooked. This was back in freshman year, and since then, we've been planning a way to have it happen. And so we're very excited to bring it back October 14th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We will be having the Fall Bazaar. And I'm sure all you guys remember it if you were around when it was happening. But it's going to be a fall festival type. And, each year, hopefully we can leave it for the senior class. We're juniors right now, but if we do it this year and the next year, we can create the tradition all over again and leave it for the seniors and, just keep upgrading culture and, this continuous improvement that you guys talk about. We hope to do through the Fall Bazaar as well.
Where?
The football practice field.
There'll be food you can get, games you can play, and you can watch some youth soccer games too that are going to be happening at the time.
I think farmers market is going to come up too, and we're going to have some craft vendors as well.
Yes. Great.
And pie eating contest.
Fun activities and games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we hope to see all you guys there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah.
And your grandchildren and kids and whoever. All right, well, thank you guys very much for your time. And if there's any other questions, we would love to answer them or just get at it.
Nobody else has any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, guys. Thank
How
you.
did the game end?
Ask me Monday. I don't want to talk about this last game.
Yeah.
Soccer.
We lost 30-0, but
Girls soccer just tied their game to Honda.
yeah.
1-1.
They're gonna beat David Prouty. Don't you guys worry.
That was good. Back on the agenda, item number 3, approval of minutes. In front of your packet, as well as online, was the August 10th school committee minutes.
So moved.
Second.
and seconded. Are there any potential corrections? Omissions?
I took care of all of those
Or
prior
deletions?
to this.
Yes, you did.
6:30.
Yes, you did. Seeing and hearing none and updated. Roll call.
Dr. Allen? Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps?
Same.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Garvey? Ms. Cartier?
Abstain.
Mrs. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
Yes.
Ms. Chafee?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Nutter?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Administrative reports, superintendent of schools.
So I wanted to start off by just talking a little bit about the start of the school, giving you an update, maybe that's slightly different than our students. As you know, hiring has been a challenge for us the past few years. It is still ongoing. We did hold a job fair in August that we thought was pretty successful. It resulted in several new hires, even teaching positions, food nutrition, custodial, paraprofessionals. We do have a lot of positions that are still unfilled. Many of them are in the area of special education. I wanted to just update you on enrollment. So I'm sure it felt like to Ms. Bennett that enrollment was happening so much later than it always has. People were enrolling really at the last minute, and our numbers in our Hardwick kindergarten just rose up to 31 students. So that is a very large class size. So we have committed to splitting that class. We've posted for a kindergarten teacher, and we hope to have that taken care of in the next couple weeks. Also, Dr. Salavardos has been reviewing changes in special education. He identified a need for an additional chairperson. We have posted that position. We're going to continue to keep reviewing our enrollments, our student services, and our staffing patterns with our building administrators as we get the year off to a start. Transportation really went off very well, but I want to let you know that a majority of our buses are at capacity. A few of them are over capacity. And when I say over capacity, that's really, we have to save a seat for every student in the district. So it doesn't mean we have 8 students standing up on a bus, but it's just to really be noted, especially on half days, because our ridership goes up. So we have had to let our families know that we can't permit sort of that single day pass to ride our buses right now. We have a transportation coordinator who's keeping a very close eye on this, but I just wanted to make you aware of it. Also, our enrollment numbers are there, so you can kind of look those over, but you'll see that last year we had about 2,200 students. Please bear in mind that this is not our certified number yet.
Yep.
But our student enrollment looks like we will have increased our students this year. Our middle high school students talked about their schedule in particular. And I just want to make note that I could not have been more pleased with the start of school, especially, that first, it felt like a really nice balance having the 2 days with the teachers and then, 2 days with the students and then having that Friday off and coming back to all that heat. But I want to say our teachers and staff have been so enthusiastic, lots of energy. Our students appear happy, as Ms. St. George was saying at the start of the year. Our teachers are really, really taking the time to get to know their kids. Our high school teachers are really excited about having students across the course of the year and not having that transition between trimesters. And I think that it has allowed us to, come in really kind of focused and know that we can take the time because we have more time. If we can build those relationships now, we're going to have more academic time later. As you're aware, we did do an early dismissal last Thursday We were, monitoring the temperatures throughout our schools. And I want to say that everyone was great about it. They were getting creative with using cooler spaces. I can't say enough about the building and grounds department, moving fans probably all around and checking schools and helping with all of that. And I just wanted to be really clear with you that on my opening day with our teachers and staff, I tried to set a clear theme and a clear message for the work that we do this year. And one of the things that I have a personal goal around is making sure that I know every staff member by name, strength, and story. So this is something that we started over the summer by creating a slide deck and just asking our faculty members if they were comfortable to create a slide about something, it could be something personal, it could be something they love about school. So I've actually attached that in this report. If you want to go in, as long as you use your Quabbin email address, you'll be able to see it. I will say I also shared it with Sheila and Dr. Brady, and they got a real kick out of it too. But it was really a nice way for people to start kind of connecting even before we came together in the auditorium that day. And we're really trying to think of one another and celebrate our strengths. And we talk a lot about sometimes our students and what they need, but it's really important that we recognize that they come to us with many strengths, and as do our teachers and our staff. And I've heard stories about people providing feedback to one another that they probably normally wouldn't have. So we're hoping to continue that throughout the year. Another message that I had was about finding joy in your work. So I think COVID, we think a lot about our students. We read a lot of articles on the impact of COVID on our students, but all of us have had lasting effects from COVID. And one of the things that I think our educators have had trouble with is just sort of like, what is it I really love about this work? Because there was so much negative press on our teachers. So that's a theme that we're working on this year. And also for them to really set meaningful and personal goals. We do a lot with setting district goals and thinking about our areas of focus. And we still have those, and those are still really important. But I want them to tie together this idea about what brings you great joy in your job, in your classroom every day, and how do you set a meaningful goal around that? So I think, Joanne, I'm going to put you on the spot because I see you shaking your head. If I said to you, what do you find joy in your classroom? What do you love? What's that sort of moment for you?
For me, it's just, especially on the first day of school, seeing those students that I've had in the past, saying hello and coming in with a smile, and the students looking like they're happy to be there and they're excited to be there. And that just, it gives me greater joy than I already have going into the school year, is seeing the smiling faces and the excitement to learn.
So that's great. And a lot of our teachers shared similar stories. So it's sort of about building lasting relationships with students. For other teachers, it's that aha moment. We have teachers who love doing engineering design challenges. Some of our principals have shared they love creating that sort of warm, welcoming environment. So we are challenging them to think differently. So how do we have more of those moments in your day and still result in, greater learning outcomes for our kids? So that's sort of our big idea. I hope if we can get some brave Quabbin teachers throughout the year to come and share their stories with you, it will allow you a little insight into what we're working on. That is all I have, but I'll turn it over. Oh, I'm sorry.
Carol?
Yeah. On these voucher students.
The school choice
School
students?
choice.
School choice, yeah, those. We had them from 28 towns a few years ago, and I just we have 11 towns now. Is that an artifact of COVID? Am I not remembering my numbers correctly?
I think what it refers to, Dr. Allen, is that our new school choice students are from these particular
These are new
10
ones.
towns. Yes.
Okay.
So we don't have listed there where our existing school choice
That will
students
come when we get our
are
full
from.
report.
Yeah, because I think it was from 28 and it was down maybe to 21 or something like that, but it was a plethora of towns.
That number also included our 5 towns. So that would be like if we said we had students from.
Oh, sure.
7 towns or 25 towns, it included the 5 towns in the district.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to take some of these items out of order here, but I'm going to build off of some of what Colleen already talked about and what you heard from the students here. We're off to a good start. We've had open houses in all of our buildings. We got some great feedback on the high school open house this year, which we haven't done in a few years, partly because of the trimester. And I think this switch to the full year courses and semester year courses will allow us also to foster some better relationships between parents and their kids' teachers, I'm hoping. And we did have a nice event the other night for that. And the idea of meeting some of our challenges around recruiting and retaining quality teachers is real right now. So we're really trying to think about that. Joe and I, as we put together our professional development plan for the year, how can we sort of make the teachers that we have as strong as we want them to be, and also give them enough voice in the process that it feels meaningful and they're buying in, right? Because that's a really kind of a tough fine line to walk sometimes. We're trying to think about those shifts as we go. We just had our mentor training, our first mentor-mentee meeting this afternoon. We have a lot of new hires. We have a lot of really fantastic veterans that are taking them under their wings. And we did sort of emphasize what kind of culture are we trying to build here and how do we support one another in our work in that piece. And our big pieces for professional development this year are around several new curriculum rollouts. In the middle high school, we have a new math curriculum in grades 7 to 9 and a new science curriculum in 6 to 8. And our entire district is really working on year 2 of their new literacy curriculum. So we have a professional development vendor we work with, and we met with their coach today from the Hill for literacy, and she kind of guides our work there. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for now. Oh, co-teaching. Yeah, so I do want to mention this because I do think this is a piece we got a grant for, and the co-teaching model is something that we're going to look at, and it's a way to support our students in our inclusion classrooms. We're starting off primarily with the ELA and with the no school as a pilot, but we hope this will grow and we'll carry some of those threads through our other classes as well.
Dr. Allen?
How many ELA kids do we have in this district?
ELL?
So ELA would be all of our students because it's just English language arts. So just our English classes in general. So the English curriculum is for everyone, K-12.
And you're gonna start, you said, in the middle school for the co-teaching?
Co-teaching model, yeah. We got a grant to kind of do some focused work around it. And we want to make sure we're really starting it off strong. So we have a group that we're going to focus on for this year, and then we will expand it.
Carrie, a good question about the co-teaching. Do the special ed teachers and the ELA teachers have common prep time?
Most of the time they do right now, but we also, part of the grant was to fund something outside the school year as well, if necessary, so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
And then I know you're the curriculum person and working that way. Are you moving towards those data teams or opportunities of shared information? Okay.
Yes. So
our elementary has been working in data teams for a few years now.
I remember, yes.
And this group with the Hill, they are facilitating our data team meetings this year, but we're actually in a process of transferring ownership over to our coaches. So they're going to run the first one, and then our coaches are gonna co-facilitate this year. And then by the end of the year, our coaches will be facilitating those by themselves. And we're actually pulling the funnel now up through our middle high school, which we've not had throughout the middle high school. But our sixth grade team, moved to the middle school a few years back, and they've brought some great practices with them. So that's spreading, which is great for us.
Joanne?
I just wanted to know, did you bring in a consultant for co-teaching, or is this being all done in-house?
We worked in June last year. A team of volunteers went to 3 days with Lisa Deeker. Do you know part of her? She's a phenomenal presenter, and she's very well known in this area. We're going to bring her back for some targeted work with those with that pilot group a couple of times throughout the year.
That's awesome. I had an opportunity to do co-teaching at a middle school level, and I absolutely loved it. And I think I've told Colleen this before. And one of the things was we did have that consultant who was working with us, and she would come in, and it would be really nice for her to come in and see how well it was working and give us that feedback and, give us, that praise of how well it's going, but also give us pointers on what we might need to think about or improve.
Yeah.
So.
We've also been really lucky that the grant allowed us to hire an inclusion coach in-house. So we took one of our teachers moved into that role, and is really going to focus on this year too. So that's going to help us with the role.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark?
The district vans that we have purchased have been regularly utilized by sports and postgrads program and field trips. Now at the start of the year is happening in OCAM. We recently just replaced the exterior walk-in freezer door that we've actually been waiting for almost a year. So we'll be able to start utilizing that freezer again. At Ruggles Lane, after the paving project was completed, the basketball hoops were taken down. We were able to secure a donation from QIBL to purchase one of the basketball hoops, then the district purchased the other. We just recently installed those as they came in as well. The air compressor, which controls the HVAC system, failed during a state inspection last year. We were able to purchase a tank, and we replaced the tank and all the fittings ourselves, which was just completed as well. OCAM, during an emergency generator inspection, it was determined that the radiator was on its last legs, so we removed the radiator, we had it rebuilt, and that's been reinstalled. In New Braintree, we've replaced an HVAC actuator for the heating system. We also just completed a larger repair on an underground oil tank, and the oil lines that come underground, the fittings feeds the boilers. In Hardwick, the entrances, the columns to the entrances were rotting away. So we've replaced all the skins of the columns ourselves, which we just finished most of that as well. And in Hubbardston, the clock tower parts that we've been waiting for almost 8 months now actually just recently came in. So we scheduled that repair as well. We also just completed the state water testing over in Hubbardston.
Okay. Questions? Thank you.
No questions. Mr. Walsh is next.
Good evening. So I'm happy to say that we were able to have all of the student devices out into the hands of the students during their first day of school, with the exception of a couple students who were late rosters. All the staff and students were rostered in all of their academic programs that were available by the third day of school. And all the parent accounts for Aspen for checking grades and contact information was up by the end of that same day. The cybersecurity training is ongoing. We've done 2 full rounds. We have 2 rounds left. The next one will start off at the end of this month, the beginning of next month, and the final one will take place in November. We have ongoing phishing and spear phishing attempts happening right now, so our staff do get tested on the regular without notice. We are still down 1 building tech, and we're hoping that he'll be back in mid-October. The website should be ready for the hosting company by the end of this month or October 1st for publication. We're currently filling gaps in we found we had a lot of duplicate images. So we wanted to keep each school kind of unique and reflect the atmosphere of that school. So we're redoing some of the photography there. And the technology department has completed 422 support tickets since the staff walked through the door on 8/28.
Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, Andrew, what, talking about phishing tests, is that referring to you're sending like a phishing email to employees, see how they respond to it?
Yep. So the staff will get emailed that pretend to be a bank. They'll pretend to be the superintendent. They'll pretend to be the payroll department, a credit card. And basically what happens is if they click any of the links, they get brought to basically a thing saying, oh, you've been phished. Here's a quick refresher on the things to look for, things to identify in all of our email systems, what looks like a fake, what should be real. And I have to say, I was very impressed so far that we've had a very, very low click-through rate. I want to say since we started this back in March, we've only had 3 instances where employees actually clicked on a link. And I will say that they are very, very deceptive and they look very, very real. And we've had a lot of employees who will contact us and say, this looks fishy. You know, can you tell me if this is real or not? So the response rate has been very, very good.
That is a smart idea. I'm not kidding. That is a very smart perspective.
It is.
Continuous learning, because it changes all the time in your world. So in a way, that is I think, a very good thing to do for everybody. Just want to commend you on that process and thinking of that.
Thank you.
And Cheryl.
So the Administrative Services Office has been very busy this summer. The payroll office onboarded 54 employees between July 1 and today. During the past month, we've had several audits that we had to prepare for. The financial audit, our work on that side is done. The auditors will be working for another month and a half on that report, depending on Worcester Regional Retirement and their actuarial report getting done on time. I don't know at this point when our auditors will do the exit conference. Our OPEB, or other post-employment benefits actuarial evaluation report, has been completed and given to our actuarial company that does all of our reports. We have a Mass Teachers Retirement Audit for the calendar year of 2022. They say this is a regular thing that they do in 28 years. I've never had one before, but that was done. That was tricky. We also had a workers' compensation insurance audit this summer. That has been almost completed. I'm waiting to hear back from the auditor as to what certificates of insurance he would like me to pull. He makes sure that they're all on file. And if we hire a consultant who does not have insurance or workers' compensation, the district has to pay a premium on that after the fact because they've already done their work for us. DES and your financial report has been completed. Mrs. Scarry actually takes care of that. I believe Mr. Brophy was in to sign the paperwork and superintendent signed the paperwork today. So that will be being submitted. It's due on September 29th. If it does not get in by September 29th, they withhold Chapter 71 transportation reimbursement money from regional school districts only. Oh, there's nothing they can do for city or town districts because yes. Also, with the Department of Revenue Division of Local Services, we have filed our cash reconciliation as of June 30th, our treasurer's year-end cash report summary, and our district statement of indebtedness. The only one left now is our E&D certification, which is due October 30th. The status of the middle high school chiller. I don't think Mr. Clark mentioned this. I noticed that I sent 21 emails to the cooperative agency that we are working with to try to get bidders for this, with the contact for Dakin, who has this contract for this project. He promises it yet again tomorrow. He's tried to work way too many times for me. But he has told us the middle of October, right? Or end of October. We're hoping to get it a little bit sooner, get that project done. The new Braintree Grade School project, we've been trying to reach out to Omnia Partners, who's helping us find vendors that will bid on this project. That will promise for tomorrow as well. A quote from, again, Dakin on that project. We have a quote from McDonald down the street. Unfortunately, he's not on any state bid list. That's why we are going with trying to get through to Omnia Partners for the town of New Braintree. We cannot get another vendor to quote. That's where we are. Cannot get a third vendor to quote on the job. The status of our school nutrition director position. We have yet to fill the position. We are in our 4th round of interviews. We had one on Tuesday, we have 2 tomorrow, and another applicant that looked pretty good today we're going to get in touch with. The postings right now are not leading to current school nutrition directors. We're getting a lot of applications from people who work in the healthcare industry. Ms. Dubois Gould, I know she's online, she's been texting me. She's still working with us under a consultant basis, and basically, I don't know how she does it. I keep saying she's gonna get burnt out, but she's taking care of all the day-to-day activities with our team. Thank you, Gary. We continue to see supply shortages in both food and equipment repair for school nutrition. My inbox is filled every single day with notices from vendors that things are not available. So Ms. Dubois Gould is changing menus on the spot, making new changes and trying to get other items for us, but we're still seeing that. So this is what, year 4 after the pandemic. I'll wait to do the audit. Warrant number 3. I believe the warrant numbers are later in the agenda, Mr. Brophy, or would you like to take them now?
No, you can take them now.
Since our last meeting, bi-weekly payroll 4, 5, and 6 were released, and weekly payroll 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And accounts payable 7A, remember last time I told you we were working on that, 11B, 12FQ, 13A, 14B, 15H, 16A, 17B, 18FR, and 19B. And I forgot to get the last one today, Mr. Bigsham. Do you remember that number?
Oh.
We had to do warrant today.
Yeah, I did 2 today.
Yeah, there's one more number.
One was for construction and one I think was from an activity fund.
Okay, I'll get those, Mr. Brophy, okay?
Okay.
Doing that, we can move on to Mr. Devine.
So a lot of what I have is really updates for things that we've already discussed, the early college process where we have submitted our part A of the application. At this point, we're waiting to find out whether or not we're able to pursue the part B. We've also are in the point making an application for a planning grant that supports the part B of the early college application. And that, if we're invited to continue to the part B, we'll complete that by this winter in the hopes of allowing our kids or giving our kids the opportunity to attend Worcester State University in the fall of 2024. We're also continuing our developing the relationship with Assumption University. I visited all the schools around the district to talk to them about our partnership with Assumption that gives them that 25% discount at the university. Also, when I went to the buildings, a number of the teachers and the faculties were looking for student teachers and some kind of support from that, but also getting that opportunity in our classroom. So that's the next thing that I'll reach out to Assumption about. Also through this process, Assumption University traditionally has offered students in the Catholic school system in the Diocese of Worcester the opportunity to access dual enrollment courses at no cost. And they've made that offer to our students. And presently we have a number of students that are attending courses at Assumption University this fall at no cost to them. So thank you to Assumption for that. And when the students complete those courses, they'll be able to get credit both at Assumption University as well as Quabbin Regional High School. As far as internships, we continue to schedule students into workplace experiences through internships. I'm working with Mass Hire on kind of developing the program a little bit more substantially in terms of follow-up and learning expectations for kids. I started doing that last year with Mass Hire, and that continues. At present, as of right now, we have 18 seniors that are actually scheduled into a variety of settings. 18 seniors in a class of about 140 kids is about 15% of our kids that are out on internship presently. That doesn't include the kids that want to do internship next semester, and also there's a number of kids that, you know, for a variety of reasons, we're in the process of continuing to schedule them. They're in a lot of different places. Last year, a lot of our kids were in the educational setting right here in the district. I'm finding that more of our kids this year are going out. We have kids, it says there, that range from being in the fire department at Hubbardston to Berry Family Pharmacy, you know, and in different settings around our communities. Special thanks to Dave March. He has, I think, two. Well, you'll have another one next semester probably. So he's hosting a couple of our kids in internships. We have one student that's working with the cardiac unit at Haywood Hospital. So they're in a number of different settings, which is an absolutely wonderful thing. And just the last thing I want to mention is the follow-up on the summer experience that our kids had at FlexCon. FlexCon was gracious enough to invite those students and their families to a Woo Sox baseball game tomorrow night. And they're going to go there, and there's going to be a buffet dinner for them, and it's just a wonderful thing that FlexCon is doing for our kids. It's very encouraging to them that participate in that, and if you'd like to see an article that was generated from FlexCon, that's in the report. So thank you very much.
Any questions? One quick one. Is there any interest or potential desire at Worcester Airport or Mass? I don't know if, is there any type of internships that?
We had a kid do an internship, I want to say it was 2011. 2011 or 2012, we had a kid do an internship at the Worcester Airport. That's the last time we had somebody work there. There has not been, our kids by and large haven't expressed an interest in that. The internships kind of follow their interests rather than us saying what's there. And but that's going to shift. If you notice in the report, I did say that now businesses are reaching out to us.
Yes.
The unfortunate thing for some of those businesses and organizations that are reaching out to us, they're reaching out now, and they're reaching out maybe in the past month and a half. A lot of those kids already knew what their internship was going to be, and it's really hard to kind of say, oh yeah, we can get you someone. But would hope to do an internship fair type experience in the early spring. So anybody who wants to come in and talk to our kids about potentially doing an internship would be able to do that. And you know, we still, those relationships that exist with our innovation pathway partners will contribute a great deal to that, but we can do that outreach in many, many areas. So that's something that hopefully will help that to grow. The internship program as it exists now also will support, and a lot of the work I've done with Joe Wyman and Teresa Salvador, support our innovation pathway students, because they're required to do a 100-hour internship in their senior year. So the structure that already exists really supports that outreach to community organizations and businesses and manufacturing organizations. And the great thing is, and the Mass Hire people say this about Quabbin all the time, how wonderful it is. Our internship program has existed for over 30 years. It is not new. It's more robust, I think, than it's been in the past, but this is not a new thing for us. And we're building on a strength that we've always had.
Dave, did you want to? Oh, okay.
Well, you know what, I do. Do we still have students from the postgrad program working down at Hampshire?
Yes, we still have students. That the postgrad program is kind of in a little bit of flux right now because the teacher is out until the end of October for maternity leave, but we still have students working at Hampshire Lumber. We still have students working at J&J Restaurant. We still have students that are, you know, that today they went up to, a group of them went to the Harding Allen Estate to work on the grounds at Harding Allen Estate. They have a relationship with an organization at Sturbridge. They go every Wednesday. So that is still a pretty substantial program in terms of the community outreach for those kids. And that's something that next month I'll have more information about continued outreach for what those kids are doing, because now is the time that I'll start to do some outreach to other organizations to get our kids some sites that they can do some work. But by and large, they continue the wonderful work that they have done. And we're also going to, next Tuesday, let's move on. We mentioned it just briefly today. There's a hope that they'll do a mail run for the district, a number of them. So they continue to be active.
Fantastic.
Cheryl, do you want us to come back to you?
I have them.
Okay, the warrants?
These warrants were signed today by Mr. Deschamps, 20 FQ and 21 S.
They come up, it's like, that voucher was 1046, and then I think another one was
1045?
45.
Okay.
And Dr. Salavardos.
So last winter, early spring, you folks did the on-site visit relevant to the tier focus monitoring. And one of the results of that were a couple of findings relevant to civil rights issues. One of them really kind of revolving around bullying prevention, right? The intervention plan. You actually updated the policy for bullying prevention. And some of the things that we've been doing since then is really putting together a new process guide for bullying prevention and intervention services. And also kind of like sharing that with families during open houses and getting together with the staff and updating them relevant to professional development. So we're in kind of the last stretches of the corrective action plan for that. And by the end of this month, I'll be submitting probably the last report to say we've completed everything that we were required to. There was also, in conjunction with this, and the departments between TFM and Problem Resolution Services at DESE work fairly closely together, and there was a problem resolution open ticket related to bullying prevention, and it was essentially asking for the same type of information. I submitted most of that information actually the end of last month, and we received the notification from PRS last week that we were actually in compliance and had resolved any issues that they had with the PRS. Moving on to actually hiring, kind of echoing some of the things that were brought up earlier. We're constantly looking at how we're actually reaching out to possible candidates. We've had kind of a nice little influx of new candidates. We've processed some paperwork to have some new paras brought on board. We've had 2 new paras start at New Braintree. We've got hopefully a couple more that'll be starting in a couple of weeks at Ruggles Lane. We're actually interviewing for the SOAR teacher position at the elementary level, and we also have offered a position and working towards bringing the person in as a 0.5 reading specialist. And like we were talking about earlier, the position of team chair has been posted, and we do have several candidates for that, and we'll start reviewing applications and setting up interviews in the next week. Indicator 14, which probably people don't hear about that much. It was actually on a rotational schedule. It is state data collection. Essentially every 3 years, we used to be asked to actually contact students who had been on IEPs and had graduated the year before and try to find out from them what they were actually doing after graduation. Did they go on to college? Did they get a job? Were they doing something else? That's changed, and this is the first year that it's becoming really kind of like the first year of every year. So, and the system's a bit different as well. We are still being asked to reach out to former students that had been on IEPs and had graduated last year, and to link them with a survey at the state level. Okay. We've done that, and unfortunately, usually there's not a lot of reply to the request, but we did actually see, so far, I think at least one student that did reply to the survey. But that survey does close actually tomorrow. One other thing, well, 2 other things I want to kind of mention. Transportation, history of special ed transportation in this area. 10 years ago, it would have been more competitive. We would have had larger providers such as Heritage and Fred's actually competing against some of the last existing companies. But since probably about 5 years ago, since the pandemic, since kids started to return in person, bus companies either lost drivers. A lot of their drivers had been an aging population, semi-retired, looking to only work a few hours a day. A lot of them not coming back to work, a lot of positions not getting filled. And I know for administrators, it's been over the last 3 or 4 years kind of struggle making sure that our providers for special ed transportation are actually doing what they need to, showing up on time, providing the services that they need to, giving us invoices and lists of students that are clear for us to use relevant to circuit breaker reimbursement and other things. And we have been in pretty much constant contact with our provider as of recently, and really talking about some of those things, making sure that we're getting information about if a route is going to be delayed in some way, if it's actually going to be late, or they're combining routes because they're short of drivers, or just other things relevant to the invoices, and again, those lists that we need. So we have been in frequent and sometimes constant contact, and we are working towards having a meeting with them next week to actually have a face-to-face to talk about the financials and some of the processes that we feel need to be in place to maintain accuracy relevant to when we know that vans are going to show up. And so our special ed transportation services actually hit a couple of different areas. It's not just in district transportation, but it's also out of district transportation as well. The private schools and collaboratives, which are sites really across most of central Massachusetts. So it is something that we need to know and need to be on top of, and to make sure that the students are being transported the way that we expect them to be. Other areas that I actually just want to mention, beginning of the school year, it's always nice to think how many kids you've actually got coming in and working with a solid number. And special ed is usually kind of more fluid than that. We have kids moving into the district. We have kids that are identified as homeless or moving into foster care placements, meeting with different state agencies to look at best interest determination to see who's going to be responsible for actually providing transportation or services in a particular district. And sometimes also coordinating things like school choice. Who actually has responsibility for what? If a student is actually school choice here, but is receiving services outside of the district, how does that become our responsibility, and what kind of things can we actually do to coordinate with the other districts so it becomes more of a partnership? So those things are ongoing. I do have to say it hasn't been a huge number of students relevant to IEP services that have either moved in or become foster care or homeless, but it is a small enough group of students to mention.
Okay.
Any questions at all?
Any questions for Director of Student Services? I just wanted to comment, thank you for working on the corrective action piece on the bullying and the prevention, because not only from our strategic plan, but what we believe for kids, not only the academic, the social, the emotional, but the supportive kids, and bullying and the prevention, and making sure that there are not those opportunities that happen to any child, regardless of grade or other, emotional, social expectations or situations.
Sure. Thank you.
That's it for our reports.
All right. Just one quick comment. Thank you. This is previous superintendent and Colleen's doing it through. Truly appreciate. I know it's a little time consuming for us, but it is so important. Yes, the superintendent can report it all, but I really appreciate the directors telling us what's happening. I honestly just want to say thank you, and I think all of us feel this, that not only in writing is fantastic and sharing it in the community, but thank you, because it gives us the opportunity to interact, which we don't really have to, but it really is special that this community, Quabbin, does something with the leadership from the superintendent. That's where it comes from. So just want to say thank you, superintendent, for that, because it makes sense.
I'd like to say thank them.
That's why, yeah.
I appreciate it too.
Makes sense, correct?
Absolutely. Very helpful for us to build the relationships with all of you and to hear, firsthand and ask our questions. We have a good understanding, so we do appreciate it.
Yes. Okay. On the agenda, Teacher Advisory Council? No.
They're not here. Evan had stated that he will attend at some point at the start of the year, that kind of thing, so.
Not a problem. Subcommittee reports? First one is the administrative review. There's a report. Kind of been elected to kind of bring the information to the full committee. On August 31st, the central office administrative review committee met. Myself, Lee, Walter, Colleen, Principal DeMorais. We met and we were talking about what was asked last year about a student representative on the committee and the process for that. Just a couple of highlights from the meeting. We're going to have a follow-up meeting next week because we really are almost there to potentially have the idea that we all support to research and take a look. And the highlights of our subcommittee was really to discuss the student representative on the school committee, which is from a part of the Chapter 71, Section 38M, and how it can be from the student council to have a student representative. Other towns may use a senator, they may use different terms, a chairperson, whatever it might use. But the person would be able to be part of the school committee, wouldn't have voting privileges, would be able to participate with emphasis from the student voice, but also with the understanding of, which I liked, and superintendent captured the language I thought very well, was want to have informed information and data. Not only to be efficient, reliable, but relatable. To make sense for the student voice and what is happening. And with a middle and high school perspective, not just a junior or senior, there could be information that comes from the lower grades up to and what's happening in the high school. So we looked at it, seeing a middle and high school model. Right now, there was an assembly that was happening on the high school. Principal can articulate, and we're gonna have a meeting next week to kind of solidify. And I would hope that if we continue to move on this path, we could have a student representative. We need to kind of frame it, what the professional, what are the responsibilities, what are the identity, those type of thing would look like. Also, we want to look to see if there could be community credit. What do you mean by community credit? The capstone. That particular person that would be there. So we have always listened and been part of students, but we had a student advisory council that was directed in a wonderful way and continuously will still stay the same from the superintendent and the principals and the schools. But also a representative, I hope I'm capturing everything, okay? That there is a student advisory. Yes, it is in the law, but each school committee and district can do it differently. And so we were looking at what our model would be, and we can always, I thought, it's nice to have a try of it, a pilot or a trial, and we like it. We can always tweak it. That's what Dr. Allen's had many years of history here, and, maybe years ago you did have a representative. The bulk of the meeting was really about A, what is out there? B, do we have enough information amongst ourselves to make an informed decision? 3, let's kind of frame it, tighten it up, and then see as possibly as early as October. Did I miss anything?
You did. That was great. And I would add that I just got this in the mail today. Everybody else probably got it before because OCAM's mail is a little later than everybody else. But there's a section in here on FAQs on just this student representative thing. So you give it in the mail and you can.
We'll all have that coming.
The other thing I like was Ms. Bennett looked up from the listserv, I guess, and you got information from a bunch of different schools. And we kind of got a sense of what other schools do and how they approach it. I think that was really valuable because that kind of gave us some, guidelines on what we might do. So,
And
helpful. Thank you.
absolutely. Purnima, is there any comment at this time, or should we hear from you next week? She's still, okay. So that's where we're at on that committee. Audit, that won't be done until fall, you said, we'll see. Budget, nothing at this time from Mark, correct?
No, we haven't.
Okay. Collective bargaining,
Nothing at this time.
building, grounds, and safety.
Nothing at this moment.
Policy review and reform,
Next one.
okay? Student services,
Not tonight.
okay? Technology,
First meeting will be before next meeting.
okay, should be scheduling a meeting soon, okay? And then the ad hoc school district configuration, that's Lee, and I know nothing at this moment, but I talked to him a couple weeks ago, he was waiting for school to start, and he had a perspective to talk about, I think, preschool and look at the visit of the school. I think he spoke with you about that.
I know that Lee's talked to me about it with Buildings, Ground, Safety Committee, Subcommittee. We wanted to kind of get together the two committees, if it's, if we can coordinate everybody, Mr. Clark. So, and try to get together and do some school tours. For each committee has their own concerns, but, I think at the same time, combine that, be a little more efficient. If we can schedule it, which is the hard part. So, good.
No unfinished business, public comment? Hearing none? School committee concerns? Dr. Allen?
Yeah, two things. I talked to Mark about this. There's the MASC School Committee Superintendent meeting at the Cape we go to every year. It's always been the first week in November. Well, this year, bless them all, they decided to make it the second week in November. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which conflicts with us and what our usual second Thursday timeline is. Now, I thought about going to the state and talking to the governor about this. But probably it's more efficient if we change our time, because a bunch of us will be there. And so I just wanted other committee members to know what's coming up and why. And my second question is, it looks like the numbers of students are up a bit this year. Have we broken the downward trend, and is it possible that we are going to be upward trending? Do we have any idea, any information, any knowledge on that?
Well, just remember that they're not certified yet, so we need to make sure we bear that in mind. There's always a lot of transition at the beginning of the year in student enrollments and student numbers. Like I said, we just enrolled 2 additional kindergartners the other day. So I would not feel comfortable or confident sort of stating anything, but what I will tell you that I think we're excited about is that our numbers at the middle school are really robust right now. And I think it's something that we're thinking a lot about is how to ensure that we are keeping our middle school students with us as high schoolers. So one of the things that we have done is we moved our Intro to Innovation Pathway class down to middle school. We've increased time for Project Lead the Way for our middle school students. And part of our hope with that is to show them what we can offer for more hands-on learning experiences through our pathways, so that as students approach their freshman year, that they consider staying with us at Quabbin versus going out to a vocational school. So I will make sure that we ask some of our middle school students to come in throughout the year and talk to you a little bit about their experience in those courses. But that is a top priority for us. It's something that we're thinking a lot about and trying to develop programming around and pay close attention to, ensuring that we keep our own students in our district.
Well, that leads directly to the topic we've talked about so many times, which is publicity. We have a great school system. We have a great program. We hear about things that kids are doing, not problems of this nature and bad kids of that. we hear about the getting out, they're doing, they're excited, they're going, well, you know, this business club, for instance, they went from 8 last year to the be, what, 300 this year, through 30, whatever it is. But anyway, we need to keep the pedal to the metal, I think. And you talked about that in your interview as superintendent, how we get the word out. I still think that full page thing that Therese Salvador was writing up a couple of years ago was really good. That probably is the best I've seen to get the word out to lots of folks. I really think we should reconsider, or we should consider reinstituting that. But other ideas too. I don't know quite where to put it or place it, or ask Mark to put it or place it. But this idea about getting the word out, I think really now is the time to do it.
We've been doing some district-wide newsletters, so we send out district-wide newsletters to all of our families, our staff. We also send them to our select boards, to our, we've had Board of Health requests to be on them, different things like that. So we've started doing that. You know, I always think a multifaceted approach never hurts. So I think we can think about doing it in different mediums and seeing what people respond to.
Yeah, but see, in district is great, but we already have them to a degree. They know what we're doing and what's going on and how the kids are feeling in the various programs. I think we need to go beyond that.
And I remember with the ad, we had a grant, I remember. Was it a grant? Because it was expensive and half of it was paid, if I remember.
Yeah.
So
it was very expensive, and it was with assistance from Fidelity that we were able to.
with the Fidelity, okay.
Yeah.
And we still have, is it you or who was the person that does knock on the business that might give us some money, like contribute dollars?
I mean, we can reach out to Fidelity and other partners as well.
So we could.
Yeah, well, I really think we need to continue pursuing that. We talk about it, good idea, and our superintendent's already doing some things.
Right.
But the collective wisdom of all of us, I think, will expand the possibilities.
I agree. Any other school committee concerns? Yes, sir.
We've signed that municipal agreement.
Yes, before you leave, we've got it. Please sign it on the way out.
On the
Thanks for
way
that
out.
reminder.
Thank you for that reminder. Sign on the way out. All of us.
Which one is it?
And then we'll give an opportunity for the folks that were in Zoom to be able to stop by and sign as well, because they voted as well.
All of us who are all here.
Yes. Any other concerns? School committee concerns? Anybody in Zoom?
I do have one thing that, just so we know, Ms. Duval was saying that anyone who voted for the IMA needs to sign this. So Emily and Charity, if you could stop by the office at some point to sign, that would be great.
And Peggy?
And Peggy, yep.
Hey, Becky.
All right, no other concerns? No executive session? A motion to adjourn?
Will we adjourn?
Adjourn?
Second.
Seconded, and good evening, adjourned.